There were a couple of really good decisions made early on in the project. One was the casting of Mark Ruffalo, not only because he has this great facial structure and he plays such a convincing banner, he's also a very patient actor, and he let us capture all kinds of data from him. And we built a Mark Ruffalo model with tremendous amount of resolution.
To get the essence of Mark Ruffalo into the Hulk, we took a lot of the skin details, the grays of his hair, even right down to his fingerprints. So we made sure that all of that was in the model, just to give it that extra subliminal layer of Mark.
We took Mark Ruffalo to the light stage, which is kind of a dome of lights that the actor sits in, and then different cameras and lights fire, and it captures a high-resolution model of their head with high-resolution textures. And that's fantastic reference to have.
We did a texture shoot, especially to get his clothing, because we knew that his clothing was going to have to hold up in many, many shots, and it was going to have to rip apart. And we also did life cast of his face, his hand, his feet, and a dental mold. So even Hulk's teeth are sort of a hulked out version of Mark Ruffalo's teeth.
So this is the urethane cast of Mark Ruffalo's head, and you can see it's got detail down to the pore level. So what we could do is take this and do a laser scan, which gives us a higher resolution model than we can get in any other way. And then we hand this off to Chris Costa, who then can apply this to Hulk in ZBrush.
Once in ZBrush, I'm able to use digital brushes to recreate all the details. So, just like with traditional clay, I'm able to sculpt those wrinkles, all the fine detail around the surrounding areas of the eyes and the lips, and add all the fine pores and wrinkles and scars and things like that.
Everything we saw in Mark, we brought into Mark Ruffalo Digital Double, and in turn brought to the Hulk in a more kind of exaggerated version of that. When we started Avengers, we knew right from the beginning, we could nail New York City and the aliens and the different Avengers, but at the end of the day, this film was going to be judged on the Hulk. Mark wore our iMocap suit out on set, and so every shot that had the Hulk, he did a performance for.
The latest version of the suit has this triangle pattern all over it. So this new patented suit design works with a new tracking system that likes the corner features of all the triangles. So when you see him in the really silly suit, we're trying to get it so it's as easy to do on-set capture as it is to do capture on the stage.
For this movie, we were able to develop a new system where we could capture Mark's facial performance as he did it, as he was being the Hulk, and then able to translate that onto the Hulk model in 3D once we came back to ILM.
Puny God.
What we were really looking for out of that was not only body performance, but really facial performance. What are the little nuances that he brought to it that we could then bring to the Hulk? And of course we have to amp it up a little bit just to get it to read, because the Hulk's facial structure is so much larger than Mark's.
Smash.
With facial performance, it's incredibly complex to get it right, because a lot of the action is happening at sub-key intervals. There's a lot of subconscious triggers that are going on in the face, which are really hard to get right. So to get the skin moving right is really complex to do by hand. We capture a lot of the complexity automatically with automatic tools.
Just the expression that changes as you're looking at somebody is going to read very differently, and that's where animators really come into play, is working with the sensitivities of the facial expressions and the performance that's been given, but being able to adapt it to fit the character that they're going to need, so that the audience can understand what the actor was bringing to bear, but really feeling it in the character.
In some cases where the Hulk needs to jump or fight aliens or do something very physical, that's where keyframe animation takes over. If it's something that's a little more subtle, or he's acting against Captain America or Thor, that's something where we can definitely use Mark's performance as a basis, and then kind of push and manipulate that from there. So that could be a marriage of
keyframe animation and what we capture on set with Mark, or it could be an entirely Mark performance.
I think one of the other really bold choices for the Hulk, but in the end paid off immensely, was to add hair, and not just hair on his head, but body hair on, on the arms, on the legs, on the chest. All that hair just picks up all this rim lighting and looks fantastic. Even his armpit hair, sometimes we had to knock that down so as not to draw too much attention to it.